Welcome to this explainer, where we are going to decode how master strategists use reverse psychology to guide people's decisions without them ever even realizing it's happening. Have you ever wondered how some people just seem to get exactly what they want? No arguing, no forcing, and definitely no direct orders? Well, it isn't magic. It's actually a profound and honestly sometimes a little unsettling understanding of human behavior and the hidden levers of the mind. Okay, so here is our roadmap for today. We're going to break this down into 6 key areas: the illusion of control, the power of scarcity, silence and strategic surrender, triggering the human ego, the art of weakness, and finally, influence versus manipulation. Let's dive straight into section 1, the illusion of control. Basically, hacking the human desire for autonomy. You know how it is, we naturally resist direct orders because our brains absolutely crave autonomy. The second someone demands you do something, an invisible wall of resistance just shoots right up. The Machiavellian approach totally bypasses this by using the illusion of choice. So instead of a direct command like, go study right now, which, let's be real, practically invites an argument, you simply ask, would you like to study math or science first? See what happened there? By putting the options inside the boundary of what you already want them to do, they feel entirely in control, even though you secretly set the exact destination. Now, you might be thinking that giving people ultimate freedom and infinite choices would make them happier. But psychologically, too many choices actually paralyze us. This brings us to what's known as the anxiety of freedom, or choice overload, which is basically a state of intense mental fatigue and decision anxiety. Picture this. You're sitting at a restaurant, and you're staring at this massive 10-page menu. You spend 20 minutes literally just trying to pick a salad. Your brain gets completely exhausted before the waiter even shows up at the table. This proves that limiting choices to just 2 or 3 carefully selected options is often the fastest way to completely eliminate that anxiety and guide someone exactly where you want them to go. Moving on to section 2, the power of scarcity, or why we always want what we cannot have. Think about the oldest story in the book, Adam and Eve. The very moment one single tree was forbidden, it suddenly became the absolute most desirable thing in existence. This happens because of psychological reactance. It's our brain's mental rebellion when our freedom is restricted. So when you see marketing terms like limited edition or only 100 left, those aren't just logistical updates. No, they are carefully crafted psychological triggers designed to make your brain panic at the thought of missing out. And this plays perfectly into the strategy of withdrawal. See, your value isn't just about being great at what you do. It's about occasionally stepping back so your absence is actually felt. If you're highly available all the time, people just kind of take you for granted. But if you let your presence become a habit and then suddenly pull back, boom, your perceived value instantly spikes. Scarcity quite literally equals importance. All right, section 3, silence and strategic surrender. Winning by stepping back. We usually think winning an argument means being the loudest person in the room, right? Just escalating the volume to defend our ego at all costs. But strategic surrender shows the absolute magic of doing the exact opposite. What happens if you just softly say, maybe you were right? Instantly, their mental defenses just drop. With nothing left to push against, they often second-guess their own rigid stance, and sometimes they even start arguing your side for you. Which brings us to another really fascinating tactic. What happens when you just stop talking? Think about being in a job interview. You finish your brilliant answer, and the interviewer just sits there, staring at you without saying a single word. Your heart starts beating faster, you feel incredibly awkward, and you probably scramble to just start saying more. That happens because the human brain absolutely hates a void. Silence creates immense, almost unbearable psychological pressure. People will inevitably rush in to fill that silence, and when they do, they often reveal hidden information, negotiate against themselves, or offer concessions they never, ever intended to share. Sometimes the absolute most powerful voice in the room is the one that says nothing at all. Okay, let's look at section 4, triggering the human ego, using identity and doubt as fuel. The human ego is a highly reactive trigger, and if you know how to pull it, it can bypass logical reasoning entirely. This is explained perfectly by self-image theory. Every single person on Earth has an idealized story about who they are. If you casually praise someone for being highly responsible, they will subconsciously bend over backwards to maintain that image in front of you. Show them their best self, and they will work tirelessly to prove you right. But then there's the flip side. You can use the ego challenge technique. Imagine a coach looking at you and saying, maybe you aren't ready for this level yet. That phrase is a match thrown directly onto gasoline. It instantly converts physical exhaustion into a burning, unstoppable desire to prove the doubter wrong. It really proves that sometimes the absolute strongest motivation doesn't come from endless cheerleading. It comes from a carefully placed seed of doubt. Whether you're managing a corporate team, coaching athletes, or just trying to motivate a friend, constructive pessimism taps into our deep need for recognition. It turns a mundane task into a fierce battle to defend our own capabilities. Let's pivot to Section 5, the art of weakness. Camouflaging your capabilities. Society is constantly telling us to project unyielding strength and flawless perfection. But there are incredible hidden advantages to looking beautifully ordinary. If you look too sharp or intimidating in a negotiation, people naturally raise their defenses. But if you use the false weakness strategy and look slightly vulnerable, your opponent completely relaxes. They feel superior, their guard drops, and they will gladly hand over their leverage. And honestly, you really have to watch out for the trap of being too perfect. Controlled incompetence is vital. Think about it. If you show extreme competence at fixing the office printer, you're not going to magically get promoted to CEO. You'll just become the person who fixes the printer forever. True intelligence is knowing exactly which tasks to be excellent at and which ones to happily let others handle. Now, check out the contrast principle, which is absolute heavy artillery in pricing and negotiations. Say a negotiator starts by anchoring your brain with this massive, shocking number, 80,000 rupees. Your brain basically freezes. You immediately think, wow, that is ridiculously expensive. But then, they immediately drop the offer down to their actual target, 500 rupees. Suddenly, your brain breathes this massive sigh of relief. The 500 rupees feels like an absolute steal, simply because it followed that huge number. Whether you're negotiating a starting salary or buying a used car, always remember that our brains do not judge value in a vacuum. They rely entirely on contrast. Finally, Section 6, Influence versus Manipulation. Let's talk about the ethics of behavioral hacking. We've gone over some really heavy-hitting psychological tools in this explainer today, but we absolutely have to address the practical boundary between understanding human nature and exploiting it. Knowing these laws fundamentally protects you from manipulation and, for sure, makes you a master communicator. But using them to maliciously deceive others will ultimately destroy you, because long-term trust is the ultimate power. Without it, all the psychological tricks in the world will eventually just fail. So what does this all mean for us? The crucial point is this. Are you using your knowledge of the human mind to build trust or just to control? I'm going to leave you with that thought to reflect on how you operate in your own daily life, your relationships, and your career. Thank you so much for joining this explainer. Now you've got the tools to see the hidden behavioral dynamics happening all around you. Use them wisely.